Hello YouTube! I'm here doing something a little bit different. It's a top 10 list, but it's more of a bottom 5 and top 5 sort of. Like top 5, I'm going to be doing the top 5 best blocks in Minecraft and the top 5 worst blocks in Minecraft. And this is just in my opinion. If you have a different opinion, then I don't mean to offend anyone in my opinion whatsoever. If you have a different opinion, then leave it in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you think. But other than that, this is going to be the video, and I'm going to start out with the top 5 worst. And there actually is, for once, an order to this list. So I'm going to start out with, on the top 5 worst, the blocks I can think of being able to be used the most, and getting to the ones I absolutely can't stand. And then for the best blocks, I'm going to start out with the one I can't use a whole lot to my favorite blocks in all of Minecraft. So, here we go. This is going to be the list. And here we go. So, the very bottom of the top 5 worst blocks is andesite. I just can't think of a use for this block. I mean, if you're using something where you need a bunch of rocks and you need something that purposely looks bad, then andesite's a perfect block. Other than that, I can't think of a use for it, and just the texture doesn't look that great. So that's why it's the bottom of the top 5 list. This is number 5. I'm going to be moving up. This is number 4, granite. Polished granite I can kind of see a use for, but granite looks almost as bad as... Granite looks just slightly worse than andesite. I mean, andesite, at least that could be used in, like, a cave, like a decorated cave home or something like that. But granite is just a lot worse than andesite. I actually can't think of a use for this whatsoever. And I'll see people on Build Battle who make these builds with nothing but granite. It's ridiculous of how much it gets used, and I can't think of a use for it. And these people who use granite to build with in Build Battle make some of the hardest to look at builds I've ever seen. I've also seen people make inappropriate things on Build Battle out of granite. I don't know why. I think it's probably... I don't know if it's starter block or not, but it might be. So that might be why, but I just can't think of a use for it. So that's why it's on the list. So that's why it's number 4 on the list, and I'm going on to number 3. Purple. Yep, the purple block. Now, it's on the list for the same reason any purple block. And just if you don't know what I'm talking about, I wanted to make a whole 4 of these be on the list, but I didn't feel like putting all of them on the list at the same time. And just basically, I didn't want to have to... I'm going to go back to one of my previous lists here. I didn't want to have to make this setup, but over here. I didn't want to have to make that setup because I just wanted to make it be all of the blocks that I couldn't stand. And just I'm using the purple block in general. Like, if I had the time, I would have put all of the purple blocks, and I'll show them again. I would have put all of the blocks here if I did have time, but I just didn't have the time for it. The reason any form of purple block would be on the list is because it's just so bright of a shade of purple that I can't think of a use for it. I mean, I like end rods, which does have this kind of texture towards the bottom of it here. You can see that has that bright shade of purple near the bottom. I'll even just place one down so you can see it. It does have that like shade of purple that's used for the purple block, but I can find uses for end rods. I can't find that many for purple, and it just doesn't look that great. So that's why it's number 3 on the list, and next is number 4. Birch. Why did it have to be birch? Wanted to make this number 5, but number 5 is even worse than birch, and that's hard to do. But if you like birch, I already said this is just my opinion, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but in my opinion, birch is one of the most hideous blocks in Minecraft. My friend Aiden, also known as ZoneWolf, and his channel is ZoneWolf-5DS, is obsessed with it. I hate it, and the only the only time I've ever used birch in a survival world is when I'm going into the survival world and I see birch, and I'll outright say to Aiden, "Hey, look, there's a bunch of useless trees here. I'm gonna take all this birch and just turn it into sticks." And just in my opinion, that's the only use I can think of, is just turning birch wood from the tree block into sticks. Well, it'd be turning into birch planks and then turning into sticks, but still, just that's the only thing I can think of to do with birch, and using it to make wooden tools. Just that is the only use I've ever have for birch, because it just looks so bad. It's so bright compared to all the other blocks, and you just can't build with it. Now, I've also used in a creative build one time when I had to make Indiana Jones, just because all the other blocks were too bright. So it was just too bright of a block when compared to all the other woods, and it's my least favorite wooden block. If you watch my previous video, I outright said that birch was my least favorite wood, and I even showed a comparison between my favorite block and birch being my least favorite. And now, the number 5, or wait, that. Oh, I hate the fact that I can't edit that out. The number 1, sorry about that, the number 1 most worst block on the list is Nether Quartz. Yep, just I don't even think I have to explain this one. If you look at the block, I mean, I don't mind having quartz. Quartz is one of my favorite blocks, but just Nether Quartz looks hideous. It looks like someone had a deep wound to where you could start to see their bones, but there's still blood everywhere. And it's like near their ribcage, so you can start to see multiple bones. Like, that's what this looks like to me. And it looks, just the texture to it is supposed to be similar to netherrack, which is outright called bloodstone. It used to be, before netherrack was called netherrack, it used to be called bloodstone. So the fact that this looks very similar to netherrack, but it has white in it, just reminds me of if there was bones and just blood, because just the amount of red and white and the similarities between netherrack, just that really puts it over the edge for me. And if you step back here, I'll just go over, place it down somewhere. Just look at this block and tell me, other than being someone's wound, what can you use this for? I can't think of anything. At least birch can be made to make a house. I mean, it wouldn't be the best looking house, but if you need a starter house to survive in survival mode, then yeah, you could use birch. But I can't think of a use for this block whatsoever. It just looks hideous. So that's why it's the number 1 worst block in my opinion. And now I'm gonna head back, and this is gonna be the top 5 best blocks in my opinion. So Bottom of the list, number 5 is quartz. You're probably thinking, wasn't Nether Quartz your least favorite? And it is. But quartz is one of my favorite blocks. And you're probably thinking, you just said that Nether Quartz was your least favorite. How can you say that quartz is your favorite? Well, this is why. Quartz looks nothing like Nether Quartz. Quartz looks a lot better. It looks like an actual material that you can build with. So that's why quartz is on the list of the top 5 best blocks. Now, quartz is great when you need a solid white block. If you're making a Pokeball or just something where you need solid white, quartz is the best block for that, and often I need a solid white block, so quartz is on the bottom of the list for that reason. It's not too often that I need it, so that's kind of why it's near the bottom. And next is the stone slab. That's not a block. I know what you're thinking. It's a slab. Therefore, it's not a block, right? Well, the reason stone slab is on the list and stone isn't is because of its texture. So this is stone, and this is a stone slab. Now, the texture is a lot different between the two. And I'm just going to take oak, for example, and an oak slab. When you put these two next to each other, I'll just do it over here. Wait. They're exactly the same. When you have stone and a stone slab next to each other, they're different. And the stone slab has a brighter tone to it. You can use that in like a city build as part of a skyscraper or something like that, and it'll look really nice. So that's why stone slab is a block and stone isn't. It is because of its texture and the shading of just it being a brighter tone. For those reasons, stone slab is on the list. And next on the list, the number, putting a lot of suspense on this for no appearance, the number 3 block, Mossy Cobble's, Moss Stone, even though it looks like Mossy Cobble. I think it may have used to be called Mossy Cobble, I don't know. Moss Stone. The reason this is on the list, because I'm aware it doesn't look that great, is because it's great for building dungeons and stuff like that, which I've made a lot of, so for that reason it's one of my favorite blocks. And I'm aware this will probably not, if you're in the comments below putting in your top 5 best blocks and your top 5 worst blocks, this is gonna be a block where it's not gonna be the same most likely. And that's great. I'd actually like to see what you put instead of this one. I'd like to see what's in the comments below. And next on the list, the number 2 best block is polished andesite. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute. Wasn't andesite your least favorite? Let's go back here. Yes, it was. For those of you who remember from the beginning of this video, andesite is on the very bottom of the list for the top 5 worst. Now you're probably thinking, wait, how is andesite your least favorite block, but polished andesite is one of your top best? How is that possible? Well, polished andesite I've used a lot, just for the same reason as stone slab. The fact that you can build it in a lot of city builds as a different tone, as a different texture, those reasons are why it's on the list. Now, it's basically the same thing as stone, slab, and stone, but stone I don't use a whole lot, and I don't really have many uses for it, but it doesn't look bad, so that's why I didn't put it on the list whatsoever, because in my opinion, it's not a bad block, but it's not a good block either. So, just, that's why I decided to not put it on the list, but I do have polished andesite here and andesite way over there. And now for the number one best block in Minecraft in my opinion, which you may have noticed is a type of wood at this point by me accidentally showing it off. Spruce wood. Just showing off that's not dark oak. I really enjoy this block a lot. I've used this block in a lot of builds. Just I use it to make pawn shops, other types of builds. For Aiden watching, he watches like all of my videos. You'll know probably what those other builds are. I'm choosing not to say what it is for the video, but I do use spruce a lot. It is one of my favorite builds, and just it comes with probably my favorite door in all of Minecraft. So I'm gonna put all of the doors next to each other real quickly. So jungle door, birch door. Oh wait, that's not next to each other. Oak door apparently because I misclicked. Okay, so these are all the doors. Now, in my opinion, the jungle door is really bad. I don't like the jungle door, and same thing with the acacia door. I don't like that one either. These are, I don't like the birch one too much, but I actually have used it a couple times. It can be used. I will, if I'm in survival mode and I need a birch door, which is rare, but if I do, I wouldn't mind getting birch just to craft it into a door. But realistically, I wouldn't be using it too much. So these are probably my three favorite doors, and among them, my favorite one is the spruce door, just because of the texture and the way it looks. So, among all the doors, my favorite one is spruce. Among every single block, my favorite one is spruce. So, I have to put spruce as my number one block, just because of the color tone and the texture and the amount of uses I have for it. So, that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and put in the comments below what's your least 5 favorite your top 5 worst blocks and your top 5 best blocks. Put that in the comment below. That's about it for the video. So, bye.